Veterans Day. I'd like that we take a couple of minutes of silence just to relax and remember all those people that have served our country and served beautifully. So take a moment of silence. We come here in gratitude and we come here in love for all those who have given of their service and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for us that we may have our sense of our freedom today. And so we remember them today in gratitude, but we try to remember them every day. And so if any of you are part of the are veterans, please thank you for your service.
Just watching again, Ted. Fire.
Okay. I have a few announcements I want to make just to kind of connect. I want to first of all thank everybody that came to the anniversary celebration on Sunday. It was a lot of fun. We're trying to get it onto the website, but we're having some technical difficulties. And if we get them resolved, we will get it out there. I also want to mention that David Diamond, who does the Law of Attraction program every Saturday at Starting Point, is going to be doing it this Saturday at 1 o'clock. And his title are Patterns and How They Affect Our Life. So if you're interested, the Zoom numbers and things for that program on Saturday can be found in your in the Starting Point website. Okay. I also want to mention the fact that we do have a virtual basket that we pass, and that virtual basket is in the chat room, and you can check it out if you want to. Okay, any way you can help, be fine. Okay, that's all the commercials I have. So I'll start by doing a reading. I picked a reading today from the language of letting go, which kind of fits into our topic for today. It's from November 29th. Step 12. The 12th step says that having had a spiritual awakening, we try to carry this message to others. Our message is one of hope, love, comfort, health, a better way of life, one that works. How do we carry it? Not by rescuing, not by controlling, not by obsessing, not by becoming evangelists for the recovery cause. We carry the message in many small, subtle, but powerful ways. We do our own recovery work and become a living demonstration of hope, self-love, comfort, and health. These quiet behaviors can be a powerful message. Still, the most powerful form of helping others comes down to helping ourselves. When we do our own work and are honest and open about it, we impact others more than by our most well-intentioned helping gestures. We cannot change others, but we can change ourselves. We may end up changing the world. Today, I will strive to carry the message in ways that work. I will let go of my need to help people. Instead, I will concentrate on helping and changing myself. If an opportunity comes up to share my recovery with someone, I will do it quietly. God, help me show others comfort, empowerment, and hope. I can be a channel to help others when I am ready. Not have to force this. It will happen naturally. Okay, I want to share that reading tonight because it kind of fits into our topic for tonight. And as part of this personal growth series, our topic is on service, giving, and receiving. You see, there's two elements to service which are really important. And that is the concept of filling ourselves, receiving inside of ourselves, and then by giving means sharing it with others. So I'm going to start tonight with a story, because sometimes things come out the strongest in a story. And the story goes back to the early days of Starting Point. You know, back in the beginning when I started Starting Point, it was a halfway house for street people. And a lot of the guys who graduated from the house kept coming back. So we started a small outpatient program, which meant that the guys would come at 9 o'clock in the morning and they leave at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, we had some very interesting therapy sessions. Okay, since there were guys coming off the street who really had no skills, we basically taught them fundamental things like how to manage an apartment, how to manage their finances, how to develop different ways of cooking, how to be able personal hygiene. All these things were part of that early group. But I want to tell you the story of one of the members that was part of our life for a long period of time. His name was Bobby P. I love Bobby's story. Bobby was one of these guys who was on the street for a long period of time. Came off, did real well, got a place, but then he would show up there every day. He'd arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning and he stayed till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he did that for a whole year. And then one day somebody came to the front door of Starting Point. I answered it, and this little guy was standing there and he said to me, I don't know you and you don't know me, he said, but I don't know what goes on inside this building. But I live across the street in the apartments. I've been watching this guy come in and out of your building. Years ago, I used to drink with him on the street. He was a real mess. And now I look at him, he comes in and out of there, he looks so good. I don't know what he does in there, but do you mind if I come and do it? You know, I always love that story because so many miracles like that happen not because people are saying anything, but because they're simply doing their work and working their own program. Because I truly believe we carry a message of love, we carry a message of gratitude by the way we live our life. I've learned over and over again that the secret to giving, the secret to receiving, is to be able to do my work and in a very simple way. By the way I reach out, I touch others, and it could be in so many different ways. And again, I say this because I understand now even more fully how the early founders of AA, who put this program together back in the 30s, when they developed the 12 steps, I do now understand the philosophy behind it. And I know now why I really believe they were divinely inspired. The 12 steps basically are 12 simple principles, but I love the way they set them up. The first 11 steps are for us to work on ourselves. I find that so amazing. They dedicated 11 steps for us to do our own personal work. The 12th step says, having had a spiritual awakening, having done your work, then carry a message to others and practice these principles in all of your affairs in every aspect of your life. So it simply means work on yourself, take care of yourself, love yourself, be open to yourself. And as you grow as a person, the way in which you connect with others is the greatest way you can carry a message. And I really believe in that concept because I really believe that giving means I share the gift of who I am by the way I live my life. And receiving, for many of us, especially as codependents, you know how hard that is. Because sometimes we get caught up and we mix up the concept of giving and receiving, we mix it up with caretaking. See, it's not our job to fix anybody or save anybody or rescue anybody. And I'll share that on a personal level again. When I got ordained a priest in 1966, I was a little crazy. I really had no idea who I was, but I decided I was going to go on this venture of saving the whole entire world. Because I'm one of these people who want to save people, even if they don't want to be saved. And as a result, then I basically, that kind of made myself a little crazy. I tried it. I ended up with beat myself up and ended up with a nervous breakdown in a psychiatric hospital. Out of the hospital, I slowed down and decided just to save the United States. It only took me till about 1984, 1985, about 14, 15 years later, to finally realize maybe I better work on me. But now I'm connected to that today. It's just by being able to share my experiences, my strength, my hope, the things you've gone through, we've gone through in life, just to be able to share them and touch others with them and be able to relate to one another. It takes away that ego inside of us. It takes away that concept of thinking that we have to have the answers to everything. No one has the answers to everything. It's just a journey. So we have to work on that inside of ourselves. And I've seen this over and over again, the miracles of things I've seen in people over the course of my journey in life. And what I've learned over and over again, it's the little things that wake us up. And I'll tell you some stories that talk about this giving and this receiving, how we connect the dots in both of these. And I want to go back to the years that I was a priest stationed in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And during that period of time were kind of the crazy years of my life. I'll be honest about that. They were a little insane. But I lived in a rectory on Pennsylvania and Arctic Avenue. It was an all African American parish. And we had this gentleman that used to spend a lot of time at the rectory. And I'll tell you how he spent a lot of time. He was a street wino who drank that cheap wine. And he had this fixation. Every time he basically, you know, would finish a bottle of his wine, he would hurl it at the rectory. We had a basketball games going out in the outside schoolyard. He'd hurl at the schoolyard. I probably called the cops on him, I don't know, 10, 15 times, who knows. Anyway, he was a little bit nuts and crazy, but he was alcoholic. He was out of his mind. And literally, he would make me nuts and crazy. But for some reason, and I know it's a higher power thing, he would stick around the rectory and keep harassing us and making us crazy. Then I understand finally what happened. One day, the doorbell rang at the back of the rectory. I answered the door. It was him. All he said to me was, "Hey, priest, get in your car. Drive me up to Carrier Clinic up in North Jersey. I'm going to sign myself into the program. I got to stop all this." Well, he told me he was going to go up there for 6 months. So I figured, well, if he's going to go up there for 6 months, I would drive him anywhere just to get rid of him. So I drove him to Carrier Clinic. I dropped him off. I figure, well, he's up at that end of the state. I probably won't see him for a while. So things got quiet around the rectory. 6 months later, he showed up. He rang the doorbell again. When I answered the door, he looked at me and he said, "Hey, priest, I hate to tell you this, but you're an idiot." I said, "What do you mean I'm an idiot?" He looked pretty good, too. He says, "See all those drunks, those alcoholics, those people that come to the back door of the rectory, and you're the one that always pays their bills for them. You're the one that bails them out of jail. You're the one that does everything for them. You buy them food. Stop it. You're not helping them. You're enabling them. If they come to the back door of the rectory, tell them, I'll take you to treatment. I bet you don't get too many visitors anymore." Well, I joke about that today because he's still around. I've known him for a long time. He's basically is in a wheelchair now. He's 92 years old. I haven't seen him in a while, but I did talk to him on the phone one time. And every time he talks to me, he says the same thing. "Are you still an idiot?" I say, "No, I'm only half an idiot now. That's okay. I'm getting better. What can I tell you?" But I love people like that because I really believe that's how the higher power teaches us lessons. That's how people come into our life. And the messages they carry, you may not want to hear sometimes, but they're all good messages. And I realize sometimes we do these not even knowing we're doing it. That's why I've said over and over again, you never know if you truly take care of yourself, work on yourself, and live your life to the best of your ability. Then, by the way you live your life, the energy coming out of you will carry a message to others. But we have to learn how to receive. You know, that took me a long time to figure that one out. I always felt I had to give all the time. And even my background, you know, growing up as a child, you know, coming out of the 40s and the 50s, I was always taught that if you truly make time for you and take care of you, I was being selfish. And even when I went in the seminary, you know, they kind of brainwashed us in the seminary. Their philosophy was, you must be all things to all people at all times. Well, think about that for a minute. It means there's no time for you. You don't exist. So what I'm learning today is it's okay for me to spend time on me. It's okay for me to pray, to meditate, to fill my soul, to fill my spirit. See, your spirit is the part of you that speaks without words. Your spirit is the part of you that touches others. Your spirit is the part of you that reaches out. But it's the little things that carry messages. It might be a simple message of a hug. It might be a simple message of just acknowledging another human being. It might be a simple message at a meeting saying to somebody, come back. We like you being here. It might just doing a little bit of service, and service has a lot of faces. It might be cleaning up. It might be opening and closing the meeting. It might be volunteering to do some work. It might be helping a neighbor. You know, service is a powerful process because in doing service to others, we then learn how to let people do service to us. And that to me was a foreign thing for a long period of time. But I know now it's okay to let others do things, let others be part of your journey. I'm realizing today I can't really work a recovery program or live a healthy life unless I am connected to other people. And I have so much gratitude today for all of you, for all the people I've met over the course of the years, for all the teachers and people that come into my life. And it's amazing sometimes how you never know when you're touching another human being or another person. Let me tell you Woolie's story. I got lots of stories tonight, but I'll tell you Woolie's story. Willie was a guy that went through our halfway house way back then. In fact, his name is up on in the memorial wall now because his family called me and told me that he died. But I love Willie's story. Willie was a street guy, you know, and we had a philosophy, a starting point back then because we couldn't afford, you know, to send people to therapy because these guys were all on welfare and everything else. So we had a philosophy. We bought them a trans pass on the bus and we sent them to 21 meetings a week. We kept them busy, 3 meetings a day. But the difference was because they came off the streets, their background was being street people, we made them go to 21 different meetings around the city of Philadelphia. So literally they had to go to meetings in all different areas with all different types of people. I don't want them just rubbing elbows just with street people. I wanted to meet other individuals. That was very effective. But Willie's story is Willie would go to a meeting, and I used to send the guys there. On Tuesday afternoons, there was a meeting over in Center City, Philadelphia, that was for recovering lawyers. That would be an interesting meeting. I would love that. But the concept is for recovering lawyers. And a good friend of mine who's been was a big benefactor of Starting Point for years, you know, God rest his soul. He met Willie at that meeting and he kind of befriended Willie. They became good friends. Eventually, what he did was he sponsored Willie and in time helped him to get an apartment, helped him to get reestablished, and then got him a job. He gave him a job as a janitor at his law firm. So he would clean, be a janitor, and Willie did that for 6 years. The lawyers at the firm got to know him, they liked him, and basically, you know, they also found out something about Willie. He had a college degree. He was a very well-educated guy. But he was patient, he just did his janitorial work. He was happy as a lark just to be able to do that. Well, they decided after time to actually chip in, and they sent Willie to law school. And Willie became an attorney. And Willie got involved in that same meeting he used to go to all the time. And he also did a lot of work around the Center City, Philadelphia area. Became a very interesting and powerful guy. You know, I love that concept because there's just a simple guy going to a meeting. He meets somebody. Now, my friend, whose name I'm not using because I don't use names a lot of times, basically, you know, carried a message of love to Willie just by befriending him, spending time with him, reaching out to him and helping him, and just letting him know that he counted. And maybe that's the simplest and most beautiful thing in the world, to let people know you've been counted, that you count. Just be able with a smile, a smile, not a smell, a smile, just to be able to reach out and touch another human being or a person. And I'll tell you a couple more stories. And, you know, I guess it was around 2014, somewhere in that area. I forget when it was, but I got a letter from a guy from the Atlantic City area. And it was addressed to Father Vince DiPasquale. And again, I'm not exactly sure if it was in 2014, but in that area back there somewhere. Anyway, I got the letter, I opened it up, and I was surprised to find out it was this gentleman, by the way, to this day, I still don't know who he is. But in a letter he wrote to me, he said, I know you don't remember me, but I met you a long time ago. I met you way back in the 60s. Remember when you were the chaplain at the Atlantic County Jail? And I was getting ready to leave the jail and to go to graduate school. See, back then we called graduate school Trenton State Prison in Rahway. He was going to the bigger schools. He had been sentenced. And so I knew he had an alcohol problem. So I gave him a paperback copy of the big book, told him to take it with him. He didn't say anything. He's telling me this in the letter. He took the book with him, went to Trenton State Prison. And while he was up there, one day he was bored. He found the book and he began to read it. And when he read it, he said in the letter that he got tears in his eyes because his story was in that book. He talked to the guard, started going to meetings at the prison, served his time. When he left the prison, he stayed in recovery, and he wrote to tell me that he still goes back to the prison, but he doesn't stay anymore. He brings the meeting back to the prison. It's amazing sometimes, and I'm being honest, I still don't know who he is. All I know is I gave him a book. Another great story happened to me at Starting Point. And again, these are simple things, but to me, they're teachable moments. I gave a lecture at Starting Point way before all this started to happen. It's a good couple of years ago. And this young girl used to come to the lectures all the time. I didn't know her and she didn't know me. And one day I had my book, The Relationship, The Gifts of Life, and I was showing it to people at the lecture. When the lecture was over, I was leaving, everybody else was leaving, but she was still sitting back there. So for some reason, I gave her the book. I said, here, Merry Christmas. It wasn't Christmas. But I said, here, Merry Christmas. She looked at me strangely. She took the book. She didn't come back for at least 4 or 5 weeks. Then one time she surfaced again. And after the meeting was over, she said, can I talk to you? I said, sure. Again, I didn't really remember even giving her the book. And she said to me, how did you know? I said, how did I know what? She said, well, you gave me a book about relationships. How did you know I was in an unhealthy relationship? How did you know that? I said, well, I'm being honest, I really didn't know. I just, spur of the moment, gave you the book. Well, I read that book. That book helped me to make a major decision in my life, to begin to make some changes. I want to say thank you. I bring all these examples out because I really believe that it's the simple little things that we do sometimes, even on the spur of the moment, that we carry a message to somebody else. But it's the little things that are the biggest messages of all. And it's not about saving anybody or rescuing anybody, because that's a disease I had to get over with, how to deal with. I remember when I did my internship training back in 1977 at DRC in Philadelphia, Diagnostic Rehabilitation Center at 3rd and Arch in Philly. It was a rehab for street people back then. And my supervisor, or my mentor, as I call him today, Jack R. Jack used to really work on me and try to get me to understand things a lot better. But I remember one day, I had this lady trapped in my office. Now, she had an alcohol and drug problem, and I was determined she was not getting out of that office until she went to treatment. And I actually was, I guess indirectly, emotionally abusing her, because she wanted to leave and I wouldn't let her leave. So I kept doing all this crazy stuff. Finally, Jack knocked on the door. He said, come here. I said, what, Jack? He said, listen to me. And he whispered in my ear, the lady wants to drink. Leave her the hell alone. And I cannot get, what are you talking about? Leave her alone. She's got a problem. We got to fix her problem. I used to argue with him, and he would very gently, tap me on the head and say, stop. Shut it off. Listen to me. Let the lady go. She wants to drink. It's her choice. Let her go. I thought he was horrible. but I found out later that was one of the beautiful lessons I had to learn in life. Because I'm learning over and over again this concept of service is so spiritual, it's unbelievable. And service is being able to give a gift to other individuals and people, the gift of your spirit, the gift of who you are as a person. But to do that, we have to understand the importance of doing our own work. And that's why I love the concept of the 12 steps, because look at those 11, the first 11 steps, just some of the principles. Acceptance, have to accept who I am. Be who you are, not nobody else. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Don't try to do things you can't do. Faith, belief, get honest, share, be open, share your experiences, share your strength, share your hope. Have a sense of humility, be teachable. Don't be done. Keep learning. And no matter what happens in life, there's a purpose behind it all. There's always something happening, another teachable moment, teachable individuals. Things happen in life. Prayer, reflection, meditation, healing, make peace with the past, move on. Learn to live life in a very simple and beautiful way. See, we've learned over and over again by these simple principles, the spiritual principles of these steps. If we truly just do the best we can every day. And I've learned, please don't try to be perfect. Don't try to do the things that you can't do. Just do the best you can every day. If you can't do something, just admit you can't do it. Open the door, be around others, connect with others around you. But it's the little things, the teachers, they come in all sizes, shapes, and forms. And service is that gift of giving, that gift of receiving, but doing it with an attitude of gratitude. See, gratitude, humility, and love are some of the greatest gifts on the face of this earth. And to be open to that process is what's so important. And so what I'm saying tonight is something very simple. Each one of us is an individual. Each one of us is important. Each one of us is unique. Each one of us is special. So look in the mirror. Look how beautiful you are and special you are. And accept the gift of who you are as a person. But inside, if you fill that spirit and keep that spirit growing inside of you, then the energy from you will flow out to others. I believe that very deeply. Today's a very special day in another way because at Starting Point, I've had so many great teachers too. But today we're celebrating, in 2018, we lost on this day one very special therapist at our place, Teresa. Teresa was a gift. She really was. She was a character. And I love characters. I really do. Because they touch you. But Teresa had this wonderful gift of just being able to know where people were and just to give them a hug. And people that went to see her used to say, the thing I love so much about her is she's tough and lovable at the same time. She's tough and lovable. And I love her for that. We have her plaque at Starting Point now, out in our little garden. And I know that whoever the person is, I don't know, always brings a flower and puts it next to her plaque. People remember her spirit, the energy that she had. I texted with her partner. I had the privilege of doing their wedding. I texted with her partner today. And we both texted about the fact of the great spirit this lady had. But where her spirit come from? It came from her struggle, her experiences, the things she went through. She came from the bottom, came up. She began to share with others. At my desk, I have a photograph of a lady that I love. She's not with us anymore, but, we used to call her at Starting Point St. Alice, Alice H. Very beautiful lady, and she just had this energy about her. You could feel the energy around her when you were with her, her simplicity, her humility, and the gift that she had to give to other people. It's so beautiful to be able to experience people like this, to experience their gentleness. And, she was a lady that went through her struggles, went through her stuff, but she always had this energy of life. She was always fun-loving. My wife and I, when she was in a nursing home, we got to see her. My wife saw an affair they had there. And she always carried her teddy bear. She always had a smile on her face. She probably didn't recognize us. I don't know if she did or not, but she always had that energy about her. She always would give, but she also was able to receive. See, beautiful, healthy people are givers and receivers. And that's why every day you have to allow people to give to you, allow it to receive, because you learn from everybody you meet. None of us are any better than anybody else. We learn and we grow from one another. That's why I love that phrase. We are teachers and pupils to each other every day of our life. And that's why I thank Bill W. and the founders of AA when they began this program, because remember, they did use some of the Quaker principles, the Oxford group principles, where people sat in a circle and just shared with each other whatever was going on in their journey, but nobody was in charge. There were no bosses, no ego trips. Everything was simple and plain. And we're still doing that today. And that's the beautiful part about it. And that's why I love so much being around other people that are doing the work, people that are carrying a simple message. And believe it, I'm telling you, you never know how many people you touch in the course of your journey. You never know. You don't need to know. It's not important. The important thing is share your gifts with others, but be open to receive gifts, the gift of learning, the gift of growing, the gift of never being done, the gift of learning. That is the real gift of humility and the real gift of life. And so tonight, as we celebrate Veterans Day, another beautiful aspect of service, people who gave, and many gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we could be here today and be doing the things we're doing today. And we thank them for that service. But we also look at the people in recovery and those who have gone before us. I love walking into the lecture hall at the memorial wall and seeing all the people that have gone before us, all the people that gave a little bit of themselves, that were connected to us in one way or another. Some very beautiful, powerful people, but they were simple people, down to earth people. And I used to love the old timers in the program because they used to say things to me. I always talk about the old timers. People are telling me now I'm an old timer, so I'm what the hell? What are you going to do? But the bottom line is, I love some of the things they used to say. Keep it simple. Don't think too much. Pray. Ask for help. They used to say, ask God for guidance during the day and be open to God's will. At nighttime, say thank you for the gift of the day. Whatever happened, happened, and be open to it. And we can use a lot of that right now, what we're going through with this whole pandemic and things we're experiencing. Changes are occurring in life. We have to give and receive as we go through that and be open to new lessons and new things we're experiencing in life. So my prayer tonight is for all those who do service, for all those that are connected, for each and every one of us. And my prayer is a prayer of gratitude and a prayer of love. Let us pray. God, thank you for this day. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for allowing us to be your channel, allowing us to be your servants on this earth. Teach us to realize that if we have the spirit of love that you've given to us in our hearts, if we truly have the gift of taking care of ourselves and loving who we are, then a little bit at a time, help us, please, to share that gift with others. But we can't do it without you. For you are the architect. You have given us these gifts. Teach us to be open to share them with others. And do it in simple ways, Lord, through an act of love, through an act of caring, knowing that every human being on the face of this earth is one of your creations. Every human being is someone we pray for every day. Even those that are struggling, those that are hurting, we pray for them, for we too are struggling and hurting too. So in gratitude and in love, we come together and we thank you. We thank those who have gone before us. We do not forget them. And we also are grateful for those who will come in the future. We have teachers that are out there waiting for us. Help us to be open to all the journey of life and to have a sense of gratitude, humility, and love for all that we do. And as we celebrate this day, Veterans Day, we say thank you to all those who gave the gift of their service for us, the gift of life in many ways. We pray and we ask this gratitude in your name. Amen. Now I'm going to ask all of you to mind unmuting yourself, and we will say this we version of the Serenity Prayer together.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God's will, not mine, be done.